Kan.
Jij switcht.
Ja. Maar ik ga heel even naar beneden om wat te eten. En zo terug.
Schoeien. Ja, pumpje. Hij is dik. Een brutale rotkop. Yo. Om 7 uur.
Ja, ik wil een praten.
Yo. Ik ben wel live. Ik weet niet of het uitmaakt, maar...
Is hij Nederlands of niet?
Ja. Maar ik ben wel live. Ik weet niet of het uitmaakt.
Oké.
Hij is even aan het eten. Yo, Zixi. Ik weet niet of je zo heet, maar... Waarom? Ten eerste, bij 46 abonnees ga ik nog geen facecam doen. En ten tweede hoeft dat toch niet. Dus ja, als je even de stream deelt, dan krijg je mod. Dus als je stream deelt met iemand en jij zorgt ervoor dat ik meer abonnees krijg, dan krijg jij mod, ja? Dus als je mod wil, dan is het je kans nu. Dus ja. Oké, dan zal ik dat even veranderen. Hoe kan je titel veranderen zonder ding te stoppen?
Nou, dan ga je eerst naar, met je telefoon naar je YouTube.
Ja.
Dan ga je naar je live en dan niet erop klikken. Maar dan zoek je het even op en dan staat er van die 3 puntjes. En dan druk je daarop en dan staat er bewerken. En dan staat komt er automatisch titel bij te staan. Dat is het beste.
Dat ik even bij mijn iPad doen.
Van die 3 puntjes.
3 puntjes. Kanaal niet aanbevelen. Nee, ik heb dat niet. Maar.
Kan het of niet?
Nee. Maar doe je.
Dat moet kunnen. Dat doe ik ook, als ik bijvoorbeeld verander.
Ja. Ah, het lukt niet maar. Dat is wel een millimeter.
Oh!
Moet je nou weer verpesten.
Oh! Bro.
Nee, je kan opslaan en laten bekijken, opslaan in playlist en delen.
Ja, maar via waar deed je het dan? Via, had je op de video
Oh hier,
geklikt?
ja, ik heb hem. Bedankt. Ja, maar je moet niet naar je home gaan, maar naar video's, zeg maar.
Nee. Je moet
Ja.
opzoeken via YouTube zelf. Gewoon,
Ja. Maar ik zat bij gewoon je homescherm en dan gewoon... Maar je moet naar je video's gaan.
ja.
Ja, bedankt. Wat ik dus altijd deed, ik stopte toen.
Ja, maar dat moet niet. Dan ben je echt slecht.
Ja, sorry. Huh? Jij doet veel te brutaal. Maar bedankt.
Nu weet
dat
je
ook.
dit ook weer, hè?
Ja, zie je maar, ook goede mensen moeten wat leren.
Wie is dit?
Ja, daar heb ik gevonden in Kreeg.
Yo, Peter! Ja, iedereen die nieuw komt, noem ik gewoon Peter.
Ja, maar jij heet ook Peter, dus
Nee, ik heet in het echt gewoon een andere naam. Zo heet ik.
Jurgen.
Hoe weet je dat dat een fout is?
Nee, dat is gewoon goed.
Het is fout.
Wat is nou je echte naam?
Peter Piet met een L.
Nice.
Ja.
Oh, dat scheelde vrij weinig, maar.
Yeah, boy. Maat, wacht, ik moet mijn iPad even goed zetten. Wacht, maat, ik moet mijn iPad goed zetten.
Ja, ik ben toch
Ja,
al
kom
gestopt,
weer.
joh. Sammel. Wat? Ik moest reloaden.
Ja, ik hoorde het.
Maar ik moest reloaden. Maar ik had nog 0 keer met mij aangeschoten.
Nee.
Ja, top.
Maar dat was een goed.
Ja, maar wel een vaag glitch.
Ja, dat was wel vaak.
Ook had je aan de andere kant. Nee, dat heb ik een paar keer gemaakt. Wow, dit vind ik niet leuk.
Ja, maar ik wel.
Dat snap ik.
Nou, edit!
Dat vind ik leuk. Oh, dat scheelde vrij weinig, maat.
Ik wil ook eventjes live gaan, dus dan moet jij eigenlijk eventjes stoppen.
Hoezo?
Met, nee, met beschieten.
Oh, ja, dat wil ik wel. Hoor.
Ik wil even met beschieten en ik moet hier nog even iets doen.
Ik wacht wel.
Hey! Moleno. Maar hoe heb jij je titel genoemd? Want ik moet ook nog een titel. Live. Live. Dat dingetje. Creative. Zo. Nee.
Martijn, dat kan toch niet, Zemmel? Je kan toch niet meedoen? Want wij zijn iPad en wat doe je nou weer? Hey,
Hoi.
waar ga je heen? Ja?
Hey, ben ik geliefd dan?
Ja.
Oh ja, ik deed niks, maar dat gaat automatisch als je te lang bezig bent. Hier kunnen. Plas. Wie is dit?
Oh.
Hey, één kijker. Welkom bij de stream.
Waarom ben je nu weer geliefd? Haha.
Ik kreeg de hele tijd een error dat ik niet kon joinen.
Zou ik ook zeggen.
Ja, dat is ook zo. Kijk de stream maar. Maar wie is die andere guy?
Hij zit nu in mijn stream. Maar ik moet me even...
Heeft hij ook een mic?
Weet ik niet.
Beter gaan
Yo.
jullie stream.
Yo,
Yo.
gaan we weer eens een keertje op de iPad spelen, jongens.
Wat speel je normaal dan?
PC.
Lekker.
Ultra Huts.
ben nu wel cracked.
Net zo cracked als ons.
Ja, ik denk wel ietsjes beter.
Ja, dat vind ik niet leuk.
Ja, maar ik vind het ook niet zo leuk.
Moeten we loot hier of niet?
Nee, je hebt gewoon standaard.
Nee, je hebt al loot. Ik kan alleen maar een trap. Nee, een hoe heet dat? Ik kan
Doosje?
niks.
Gekke double X.
Ja, moet je even je game restarten, maar ik weet niet of je daar zin in
Ja.
hebt.
Ja.
Jongen, maar
Nee,
ik had
kan
altijd een hele gekke aim, weet je wel. Op iPad
Ja.
alleen.
Ja, maar
Nu is
wij
het
hebben
helemaal
zieke
veranderd.
gamers, joh. Auw.
Joh, wat zeg je?
Als ik speel alleen maar met konen en trap.
Je bouwt hier toch een muur, joh, zummel.
En ja, dat bedoel ik. Koon.
Jongen, maar ik zie jullie niet. Ik ben bij het
Kijk,
water.
wat ben jij?
Ja, bij het water.
Oh, daar helemaal. Poh.
Ja, dit is...
Ja,
Ik
ik
zie
laat je
jou
wel
niet eens,
komen.
Wat ben jij?
Auw. Doei. Even kappen nou.
Ik heb me haast al mijn bed zo opgemaakt.
Kappen nou. Straks moet je haar
Maar
houden.
toen ik speelde was de aim assist nooit zo erg. Hè.
Ja, die is echt lekker nice. Nu heb ik de kill niet.
Dit is stick the landing. Nice.
Hey, Peter Piet. Auw.
Yo.
Yo.
Ja.
Wat? Ik pakte een
Oh,
bouncer.
thanks. Ik had mets nodig.
Ik pakte een bouncer en ik kreeg fall damage. Hey, Peter Piet, waar ben je nu heen?
Piet.
Yo. Ik heb gewoon mijn rij gekilld, jongen. We hebben het voor elkaar
Lekker.
gekregen. Nee.
Let's go.
Die edit is zo Oh,
Wat was dit?
33. Nee, ik moest reloaden. Hey, Peter
Jongen,
Piet.
crack.
Klopt niet meer.
Oh, daar ben je.
Yo, ik heb mijn rij gepakt op iPad. Nu na 2 keer achter
Yo.
elkaar.
Ja, maar ik kom eraan en dan draait het even. Lukt zo niet meer.
Oh, verkeerde kant.
Ja, waar zijn jullie? Oh, daar.
Nee.
Hey,
Nou,
oh.
hey,
Ik
ik
zat op
speel
je
nu
hoofd.
in season. Gast, hoezo kan ik weer alleen maar... Ik speel nu in seizoen, nog steeds in seizoen 3.
Ja,
We
iedereen hè.
spelen allemaal in deze.
Ja, maar ik heb gekeken, dus ik praat tegen hem.
Oh,
Maar ik kan weer alleen maar zo'n koon plaatsen.
hij moet heel je game restarten hè.
Ja, heb ik ook gedaan.
Oh, nou zeg dat dan.
Nee, pak mijn pickaxe in plaats van de schaar.
Ja, ik zag
Nice.
het.
Hé Martijn, soms hoor je een hele mannelijke schreeuw.
Ja,
Ja,
zeker.
ik hoor het.
Oh, dat is een leuke clip.
Van ons beiden. Dus
Eerst een 160 en daarna een 100... Bij dat.
en die mannelijke geel kan heel hoog.
Dat is bereikt.
Maar kijk, ik kan ook sprayen.
Oké, maar ik ga mijn game weer.
Oké, dat ging niet zo heel goed, Boutje.
Gaat soepel. Oh,
Nee, kan dat hier niet? Ja, dat zijn de Season 4 tactics. Nee,
Hey, even die creative, want dan kunnen we gewoon weer even rejoinen. En hopen dat ik dan wel gewoon normaal kan bouwen.
mag het hopen. Sam, die gaat eruit.
Ja, ik
yo,
Nee.
ik ben op zich nog wel oké voor iPad, jongen. Ik ben op zich nog wel.
Die andere guy moet ook weer even joinen.
Hey, stap je er even mee?
Hoezo?
Hoezo? Omdat ik niks van waarde.
Ja, boeien.
Ja, boeien. Zeker boeien.
Nee.
Een beetje gewoon normale dingen doen.
Doe toch normaal?
Is dat normaal?
Ja?
Heb je huiswerk al gedaan?
Ja.
En je tas klaar?
Ja.
Moeder van Marijn, dit is gewoon normaal. Ja, rood.
Als je niet gelooft, gaat er maar kijken.
Even? Oh ja, jullie hebben ook geen arena meer. Wat is dit? Dit is echt zielig.
Ja, dat is zielig, ja. Nee, dat moet gewoon... Maar Arena moet terugkomen. Dat eerst wel en toen weer niet.
Nog 6
Moeder.
minuten.
Dan.
Nou, dan ga ik dat kijken.
Ja, maar dan, ik blijf gewoon lekker live. En dan ga ik wel even solo voor squad doen of met de guide doen.
Ja, ik ben nog geen champion eigenlijk. Ja, ik speel niet zo voor arena.
Ja, maar je kan hier ook geen arena.
Nee, maar ik speel PC toch?
Ja.
Oh, champions. Ja.
Ik ga denk ik als ik kan streamen niet op zondag in ieder geval streamen.
Yes, je kan weer normaal bouwen. Let's go.
Yo, ik heb
Nee.
de Chinese muur gemaakt, joh. In 2 seconden.
Ja, en mijn aim is echt scheid als de gek.
Catcode.
Ja, en ik zit hier weer vast.
Kom
Komt
op,
die guy ook
bemoeien.
nog even hoor. Oh shit. Oh nee, jij hebt beter wapens. Nee.
Oh,
Jongen, ik hou die 207.
ja, dat dacht ik al.
Het duurde een beetje lang draaien, zoals je zag. Ik zat echt heel de tijd te draaien. Wel dat mij niet.
Nee, mijn wapens zijn niet goed. Gewoon iedereen gaat gelijk naar mij. Nee.
Nee.
Lekker.
Ik kon geen wal plaatsen.
Moorden. 2 kijkers.
Mol!
Nee, serieus. Oh, morgen.
Hé, ik snap wel. Ja, dit is een iPad, jongen. Het gaat nog gewoon vol door de muur in knallen.
Ja, ja. Maar dan ben je uiteindelijk wel van de top. Ik heb een charge.
Nee, ga weg, joh.
Oh. Oh, hier. Nee. Fuck die guy in de rechts. Hier.
Ik zeg eerlijk, het valt toch mee hoe slecht het is.
Oh ja, teamers.
Heb jullie...
Wat?
Oh, wauw,
nee,
ik
ik
heb-
liep in jouw AR-schot. Ik had anders mijn rij, jongen.
Ja,
Ah,
jullie alle twee
zo
one
slim.
shot.
We waren allebei one shot. Oké, ik ga kijken hoe sterk SMG op iPad is.
Nou, dat is heel sterk. Nee, wat doe
Ik
ik?
zie, jongen. Wat? Op iPad heb je zulke lag. Ik weet hoe je je voelt, want we hebben dezelfde iPad.
Ja,
Oh,
wij hebben allemaal dezelfde.
nee!
Hoe OP is dit?
Nou, ook weer één.
Jongen, ik had
Dat
geen
ding
shot
uit, dan
hier.
gaat iedereen dood. Ja, nu wel.
Dat is een SMG, jongen. Ik ga gewoon stilstaan en hij volgt automatisch.
Ja, dat klopt.
Heb je autoshoot aan?
Nee, tuurlijk.
Wacht even.
Nee, stop mis. Nee.
Jawel.
Brutaal lopen doen. Hè?
En? Boeien.
Jongen, ik heb een rotsongever. Wat is dit? Kijk hè. 200 IQ. Maar,
Nou,
het
dat
doet
voor
het
mij
niet.
was niet standaard uit toen. Hier.
Wat? Nee, dit is spel, jongen. Ik gooi hem net op jou, die impuls, zodat je wegvliegt. Werkt het niet.
Nee, ik plaatste net de koon erboven.
Nee, maar daarvoor wou ik wel gooien. Alleen ik weet niet hoe dit spel helemaal werkt. In ieder geval. Hij deed het wel. Ja,
Doei.
Oké, toen was het een paraplu. Nee, glitch naar beneden. Ik heb je haast
Voor.
outplayed, jong.
Bijna.
Echt wel lekker. Jongen, ik krijg alleen maar shark. Nee. Good.
Hey.
Ah.
Oeh.
Ik had je bijna nog uit de lucht. Ik weet niet hoe, maar... Ik ben gewoon een beetje hout van de pijp. Van een kleine kies, maar... Oh.
Ah!
Dat is echt vreemd.
Nee, ik mocht niet schieten! Ik mocht niet schieten! Wat is dit?
Oh, dat is van jou opeens.
Ja?
Wat?
Wat?
Daar ligt echt alle loot in. Maar ik krijg alleen maar charge. Dat kan ik niet meer... Yes, nee.
Nee, ik pak een vis! Wat is dit? Ik pak random een vis!
Beetje weg.
Nee.
Oh, echt hier veel loot.
Ja,
Een
maar joh.
beetje maar. Ik moet daarheen gaan, maar hij is er niet. Oh.
Leuk. Oh, is dat voor mij?
Ja, ik dacht al, waarom schiet je niet? Ik ben zo lekker.
Ik heb code.
Ik stond gewoon stil, maar dat maakt niet uit. Ik zit hier weer vast. Oh. Rijn. Spreken.
Klopt.
Bam. Ik lijk hem dan gewoon helemaal, jongen.
Yay!
Oké, ik ga nu weer springen.
Het enige wat je nodig hebt.
Is een echt.
Hij is geoutplayed vast. Met 2 HP.
Geoutplayed, zegt hij tegen een niet-iPad spelende player.
Ja, wat doe je? Wacht toch.
Maar hou
Niemand
er
heeft
op.
gezegd.
Nee, maar eigenlijk. Ga weg. Nee! Wat is dit? Oh,
Ik
ik kan dit zo erg niet.
Ik hit jou Martijn, maar ik hit jou ook Jurgen.
Tegelijk.
Ja, ik had dit alleen jou.
Oh, ik deed 114 borden. Dit is mijn plek.
Iedereen
Zo.
gaat.
Dit is mijn bunker.
Nee, serieus.
Doei.
Hé, wat is
Doei.
dit?
Yo, ik kijk het helemaal naar beneden. Wat is dit?
Wat is dit?
Het is deze.
Wat is dit?
Ah,
Het
dit
is
is
deze
helemaal laag.
shit. Nee, Marijn.
Echt, een oog en een uitspelen is het ook niet goed, jongen.
Nee, gast.
Ja, echt jongen. Toen, dat was de trio arena was jij daar. Jij deed echt heel veel gekke lasers doen.
Ja, dat is die
Dat heb je altijd als je type player hebt.
Oh. Nee,
Nee,
killsteal.
anders had ik tegen shotgun. Ik had zo'n mooie play-offs gehad. Met die gozer. Wat je mooi
Ja,
vond, maar
Killsteal, jongen. Pol. Maar als je dat
krenk
krijgt
je uit.
dan heb je gewoon gewonnen.
Wat?
Ja, goed.
Hoe was dat niet?
Hoe is het finish?
$40 damage. Wat is
Nice.
dit?
Waar zitten jullie?
Ik zit
Ja.
aan de noordelijke kant van de map. Denk
Ja.
ik.
Maar weer de tijd
Heb
zitten
ik
gewoon.
veel aan. Ik zit aan de zuidwesten, linker, rechterkant.
Nice. Kijk,
Ja, weer de SMG. Ja, ik hoor jou in één keer vallen.
ja, het deed ook precies 100 damage, hè. Niet eens ietsje minder, maar gewoon precies 100.
Nee, 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 nee.
Wil
Is
je
die
nog een
brutaal geweest?
vergadering? Moet je
Ik
een
weet nog wel dat
advocaat
ik in het begin, toen ik nog wat PC speelde, pakte mij Marijn pakte mij.
Ja, maar dat heb je altijd.
Ja, maar nu niet meer hoor, dat weet ik wel.
Ja, ik weet niet hoe het is.
En nu ook zeker.
Waarschijnlijk kunnen we nooit meer met elkaar spelen.
Terwijl in juli komt het weer terug, hè?
Ja, maar dat ben ik al lang gestopt,
Ja,
maat.
volgend jaar, maar dat is nog niet eens zeker.
Nee,
Yo, ik hou niet eens bij.
daar ben ik al lang gestopt, maat.
Ik weet niet of ik daar voor ben, denk wel. Dan zit ik ook in de derde.
Ja, ik heb dan...
Derde jaar is voor mij school.
Dat hebben wij ondertussen aan vandaan.
Dus ik al een beetje in de vakantie. In maart, ik bedoel eind mei hebben wij al vakantie, hè.
Ja, toch.
Doei.
We moeten wel ons examen gaan. Dus nu dan.
Ja, maar dat haal ik wel.
Ook wel.
130 en 60. Nice.
Alleen
Nice.
mijn natuurkunde ging niet zo goed.
Nee, mijn ook niet.
Helemaal zelfs niet.
Mijn ook
Mijn
niet.
Nederlands. Ik heb een 5 voor mijn Nederlands.
Nou, dat is niet goed.
Ach, mijn mag toch overnieuw.
Ja, maar zo werkt het niet, hè? Straks.
Nee, maar straks is het.
Nee, ik moet die venten. En dan...
Oh, ik moet niet bouwen.
Ah, niemand focust mij meer. Shit.
Auw.
Kom ik even third party en zo. Dat is het enige wat ik bij kan.
En nog heb ik gehaaid. Moet je schamen.
En ja. Die maar boeien. Alsnog ben je dood met een halfpunt. En alsnog
mis ik
zijn jullie
alles.
allebei.
Nu gaan we toch zo doen.
Ja,
Nee.
ik ga nu goed spelen.
Nu moet ik denken aan die Sandy. Ik zeg altijd, ja, nou ik kom een smet.
Ja, hij kan er zelf echt helemaal niks van.
Nee. Maar dat is vreemd.
Ja, kijk.
Ja.
Eerste hit. Die gonna
Ook de
slap.
laatste.
Ja.
Ja, dat was niet de bedoeling. Nee, dat nee.
Oh, oké. Ja.
Nee, even overnieuw hoor.
Oké. Die spannend.
Even hier eerst.
Ja, ik moet ook. Oh, 100.
Meen je die? Meen je die?
Ja? Die meen ik.
Nou, dat vind ik niet leuk.
Die meen je! Oh, meneer is gaan bouwen. Je wordt naar beneden gehaald, hè, dat weet je. Oh shit, ik ben helemaal naar beneden.
Het zou wel grappig zijn als jij dan afging. Ik kon nog net op de venster van maar.
Wat is deze shit? Wat is
Maat.
deze shit? Ah,
Maat.
dat wordt ziek verkeerd. Nee.
Maat. Martijn. Staat 45-2. Ik weet niet of je het door hebt, maar...
Dat staat
45?
5,
Nee.
2.
50-2 min 12.
Gast! Min 12! Hoeveel kills heb je gepakt?
6.
Nice!
Yo, hey.
Ik heb serieus nog nooit iemand gezien die min 12 had.
Nee, maar jij bent gewoon slecht.
Maar Marijn is gewoon zo goed, weet je. Wacht,
Ja,
wacht,
wel-
ik moet even mijn sens
Beetje-
veranderen, want... Ik ging een beetje te hoog.
Die tekst is heel vervelend.
Ja,
Dank
Ja,
je.
jij bent ook vervelend.
Dat wist ik al, maar hoeft
Zijn
niet,
jullie?
hoeft niet nog een keer mee te delen.
gast, waar zijn jullie? Eentje is helemaal in Pakistan.
Zo.
Eén iemand
Alsjeblieft.
is helemaal in Pakistan. I love Pakistan!
Ik heb voor 116 gehit trouwens. Ik weet niet of je het door had, maar... Wat een zelf.
Ja? Had je niet gedacht, hè? Bam!
Auw!
Ja, dat is,
Ik had wel die mooiste edits op jou gepopt.
ja, maar ik had zelf ook een mooie edit, hoor.
Jij kan niet zo goed editen als mij op iPad. Kan jij dingen invisible maken op iPad?
Nee, ja, bro. Ik speel toch geen iPad?
Nu
Ik
gaat hij
speel 30
brutaal lopen
fps,
doen.
jongen.
Ja, ik
Hier.
kan op 6 spelen. Met glitch.
Ja, dat
Ja,
kan
maar
ik
dat
ook.
kan ik ook.
Semmel.
Ik ben geen Turk.
Huts. Ik zit hier gewoon lekker te snipen.
Ja, dat heb ik door.
Dat is nooit als je dat doet. Hier.
Ja, is die weer af?
Ja, maar ik had hem al gesniped, hè. Anders had je hem
Ja,
niet.
dus had ik gewoon, want ik gaf 100.
Ja, maar daarnet werd ik ook gesniped. Geen smoesjes.
Ja, wel. Ik sta nu min 1.
Hey,
Ik sta
dat is
niet
wel
min 12. hoor.
Ja, maar dat was aan het einde van het potje. Ik zit er gewoon lekker te
Gaat weer.
herzetten.
Oh,
ik spray alleen maar. Hoppatee.
ja, maar ik had de groene pump.
Zou ik ook zeggen.
Ik niet.
Ja, groene pump had ik.
Ja, ik ook.
Maar ik heb weer hetzelfde loot als net.
Je moet gewoon maar
En nu heb ik een
aanvallen.
slurpvis.
Je moet gewoon niet
Het enige
doodgaan.
verschil is dat ik een slurpvis heb.
Ik wil. Is het?
Oeh. Hij durft hoor, hij durft. Zit iemand boven je?
Hey, rustig, rustig. Rustig. Jongen, ik word helemaal gestrest door die edits. Pak wel die high ground dan.
Ja, dat zie ik. Krenken.
Kijk,
Lekker
man.
Jurgen. Gaat goed.
Gaat super goed.
Jij durft hè? Jij
Daniel,
durft.
op eens door. Pak hem met jou.
Hier.
Nee, ik wou weg. Ik zag die kogel op me afvliegen en ik wou.
Ja, maar dat is niet slim.
Oh,
Oh, weinig no-scope. Zo slecht ben je. Ging
Oh.
toxic.
ga je
Ja.
respawn?
Ja, dan kom ik tenminste bij jullie een keer. Ik sta een beetje te snipen, hits uit te delen.
Bam!
Oh.
200.
Oh.
Easy.
Maar ik heb 5.
Wat?
Maar dat gaat wel.
Hij zocht voor die
Hier.
wand. Ja, dat wist ik wel. Hij zocht ervoor.
Ik ben zo goed in het spel.
Zeker. Hoe was het geen hit? Hoe was het geen hit? Ik hit je gewoon volop. Of ik blankte je?
Nee, dat is laatste. Nee. Oh. 90 op jou.
Ja, maar hij heeft SMG.
Ja, dan win je gewoon. Maar jullie kunnen stream snipen.
Oh mijn god.
Ja, maar jouw stream loopt echt super erg achter, dus dat gaat een
Ja,
beetje
klopt.
lastig.
Kan wel.
Ja, ik ga je stream snijpen.
Is goed. Nee.
Jongens, hij is zuidwest op 188. Helemaal sacrifice hem, wanneer je nog is.
Hey, ik
Gewoon
word
overleefd.
vallen, maar dat is niet af.
Nou, netjes, netjes. Broeder.
Oh, netjes, netjes, netjes.
Na deze ronde ga ik even kijken.
Alabababa.
Oh, lek! Wow, echt lek.
Hij is trek, hij is trek, hij is trek. Dat is een trek.
Dit vind ik leuk. Nee,
Oh mijn god, ik wou nu eens naar beneden schieten.
zou ik ook zeggen. Ga eerst.
Oh shit.
35.
Daniel, pak hem met jou.
Jongen, hoeveel puntjes heb ik nu? Kan ik niet zien.
Hey, je
Jij hebt de
14.
Hey, ik sta boven klep bij uitviklingen.
Oh,
Ik word alleen een gek gelezen.
Ja, dat klopt. Door mij. Doei.
Hoi.
Wow. Al
GG.
mijn loot ligt beneden, dus al mijn goede
Ah.
loot.
Ik heb dat echt niet opgepakt of zo.
Lijkt me zo.
Ik heb mezelf lekker naar beneden.
Doei.
Ik heb het overleefd.
Ja, ik edit mezelf naar beneden. Zo goed ben ik.
Kom maar met jou.
Oh, low, ja. Ja, dat vind ik dan weer niet.
Oh no, no. Hé, Marijn kopieerde mijn... Oh. Marijn kopieerde mijn scherm. Wat bedoel je daarmee?
Visser?
Ja, iemand zegt in de stream... Marijn kopieerde mijn skin.
Ja, wie zegt dat?
Dat zegt Epic Bomber 300 nog wat.
Oh, dat is niet.
Hij wil dat ik face reveal doe bij 100 subs.
Ja, jammer. Doei.
Ik heb al 10 keer al de wedstrijds geweest gewoon aan het
Ja,
houden.
ik ook.
En elke keer word ik naar beneden gehaald,
Ja.
jongen.
En ik ben echt gewoon
Hij heeft-
one shot.
Wat is het? Oh,
Goed om
hij
te
draagt...
weten.
Daarom heb je zijn skin. Oh, ik zit gekant. Geboekt, lekker
Pak die high ground.
Rijn,
Ja, ik ben-
anders ga je even...
Ja, ik ben one shot, maat.
Nee, dat ben je niet.
Jawel, ik ben 33
Hey.
HP.
Ik liegen.
Ik ben
Ja.
33 HP voor degene die het wil killen.
Oh, ik heb gemesterd!
Mannelijke geeuw. Ja, ik was one shot.
Ja, ik heb gemesterd.
Double kill, jongen. Triple kill. Ik heb een
Triple
triple kill. Ik heb mezelf ook.
Ja, dat vind ik leuk.
Die was wel...
Jongen, in de lucht volg ik jou gewoon met één assist.
Goeie aim.
Oh, ben jij zo?
Oh, ja.
Die krijgt het zelf maar uit.
Oh, ja.
Gaan we het naar beneden?
Wow, doe echt normaal, joh. Ik sta derde trouwens, ik weet niet
Hij
of je
gaat
door
trouwens naar... Ik hoorde het aan zijn gedachten.
Ik sta laatste.
Wat is de laatste?
Ik sta laatste.
Oh, kan. Komt er... Oh, waar zijn jullie hier? Fuck het, Daniel.
Doe echt normaal, joh. Jij doet echt veel. Fuck dit.
Oh. Wat doe jij? Wat doe jij? Wat doe jij? Wat doe jij?
Ik kill jou. Au.
Twee streams. Like en voor me. Fuck het dan niet. Stop, stop. Alsjeblieft.
Nee, ik wou iets zoeken, alleen op iPad gaat dat een beetje heel slow.
Er komt er nog geen achter.
Ja, jij doet veel te brutaal, maat. Hier. Die voor je koude.
Hier, half gebeamd, jongen.
Ja, ik leef nog, jij niet.
Auw, boeien. Boeien.
Jij doet echt veel te stoer.
Hoezo? Ik zeg alleen boeien.
Oh,
Is er iemand? Halen. Oh, ja. Zit hier niemand?
ik was helemaal naar beneden gevallen, maar ik heb het overleefd.
Nice.
Laat hem op.
Later. Heb je ook elke dag last van een kater? Wel dan. Hey. Nee, ik heb geen match meer. Oh,
Ja, dat is dom.
wel match.
Nee,
Oh,
zit hij al hier hoor. Dat is een paal.
Nee, goed.
maar ik heb heel zo hooi bang van.
Ga hij
Tegen wie
kan
moet de
pakken
fight
deze
dan?
gozer.
Tegen mij.
Oh. Ik dacht dat...
Grapje.
Ik dacht dat... Huh?
Tegen wie is ze nou?
Tegen die andere...
Oh,
30? Met een...
Martijn, ik heb jou gelezerd.
Daar gaan we niet over praten. Nee. Je was
Ja,
iets te snel in de box.
Ja, dat klopt.
Marijn, ik denk dat jij gaat winnen.
Dat is mooi dat je dat weet.
Waar komt het, Daniel? Daniel, loop door. Nee. Zit er zo'n pauw voorbij op?
Ja, volgens mij val jij dood hoor. Ik weet niet, ik weet niet zeker, maar...
Oké, Daniel. Loop door.
Ik moet reloaden.
Nee, oh. Ik kan mezelf niet zeggen. Oh, is het hier?
Niet had 144 headshot. Hè?
En ik deed iets minder.
Oh,
Ik deed,
bijna zelf weg.
mijn charge deed 93 op.
Nou, maar dat is niet zo fijn.
Nee, dat klopt.
Dat is naar...
Martijn,
Ja.
wat gebeurt er daaronder?
Geen idee.
Ah, hij heeft beneden gehaald. Waar is dat die bouncer van je, Marijn? Marijn, waar is dat die bouncer
Hoezo?
van je? Nee, ja, ik heb hem nog net.
Nee, ik niet.
Bloedpakken!
Gast, ik raakte nog één dingetje. Gewoon één
Doe me! Ah,
Ja.
uitsteeksel. En
you
daardoor
feeling-
werkte mijn bouncer niet meer.
Ik zal nog vast met het bouwen.
Zo, bedankt voor de loot.
Alsjeblieft.
Hoe
Graag
zou je
gedaan.
voor me? Peter, wat dat was.
Oh, Sharon.
Wat Sharon!
Jij doet
Blauw
veel te,
Charles, even.
jij doet veel te brutaal, man.
Er is veel
Ja, ik ga hem wel even pakken deze keer.
sprayen.
Nee,
Valt toch wel mee. Zo, jij bent gelazerd, jongen. Ik hit er 6 headshots met een SMG. Pje.
bedankt voor de loot.
Echt, Marijn, echt continu bedankt voor de loot.
Ik land precies net niet op mijn bouncer door hem te
Ja,
helpen.
dat is niet leuk.
Laat de bouncer land er niet op.
Oh, het is bijna nog, jongen.
Bijna.
Pijn.
Mijn SMG-aim is ook gewoon 10 keer zo goed op iPad dan
Ja, kom
gewoon dat
maar.
ik even zit.
Kom maar.
Oh, je bent.
Ik ga even dat FNCS kijken, ja?
Hé, we staan gewoon gelijk, jongen.
Ik ga even dat FNCS kijken.
Is goed, man.
Geleden.
Ik kan mij killen voor de punten.
Ja, maar ik ga zo weg.
Is goeie.
Gaat iedereen
That
nu
top
weg?
left-hand corner is what you will see
Ja,
when
ja,
the
kan
storm
ook,
surge turns off.
dingen
That will
kijken.
activate when the zone closes, and then it will
dan
do
ga ik wel solo
25
first
damage
class
every
doen.
10
Dat
seconds
kan ook.
to the players who have done
Ja,
the
dat is
least
niet zo
amount of
moeilijk,
damage to
nee.
their opponent. So that's what we're talking
Maar ik kan
about
ook
when we
gewoon
say you're
ook
looking for storm
solo
surge tag team,
doen,
looking to
dit
get damage
kijken.
and resolve early
Zo,
fights
wat
and
zal
make
ik
sure you're
jou giften?
maximizing your damage on downed opponents.
Zal ik je wat
And
giften?
zones 1 through 4 have all been kind of going closer to the center of them. But now
Hey.
we're about to get to the fifth
Wat?
zone, which is what we like to
Dank je
call
wat
the
giften.
half in, half out. It's
Mag.
going to be half in the safe side and half in.
Mij mag je ook
Dat-
wel geven.
Ik krijg volgende week, nee, over 2 weken, krijg ik van Save the World, krijg ik 1000 V-Bucks.
Dat is lekker. Dan mag het.
Hey,
En ik heb al 1300, dus dan heb ik al
Marijn.
2500 V-Bucks ondertussen.
Marijn. Oh, Marijn,
Ja.
zou je mij de Arwand willen giften? Nee, niet
Wat?
jij, Marijn, maar die andere. Die andere.
Martijn.
En waarom?
Nou, omdat die gewoon leuk is, die Starwand.
Ja, maar kijk. Dan koop je zelf V-Bucks.
Geen
En
zin
dan koop
in.
je hem. Nee, ja, ik ga sowieso niet op iemand die op iPad speelt, ga ik geen V-Bucks wasten.
Nou, Marijn speelt toch ook op je iPad?
Maar kijk, je kan niet eens naar Season 4. Kijk, als Season 4 zou zijn, dan zou het iets anders zijn.
Maar ik ga.
Ja, ik
Yo,
ook dan. Joe,
Ik heb al Rock Paper Scissors, Dynamo, Star Wars en Red Knight van deze show.
gun mij dan wel die gift.
Nee, man. Sorry.
Nee,
Ik
hoeft
wil
niet, hoor.
Spider Knight.
Ja.
Oh, jij pakt ook meer nieuwe emotes niet. Bruh. Dan gaan we deze.
Maar dan
Dat is
ga
de
ik er ook
verkeerde.
denk ik vandoor.
Yo, later man.
Joe. Dan gaan wij even dikke dingen kijken.
And you can see Savage gets a knock there on Paco. So if he's able to convert on that, yep, Tomsy actually goes down from Tenzin. That was another point from them. So good job going through there. Storm Surge will turn off, and we're closing in almost on kind of that first placement threshold. So we talked about just how painful it is to go down before this circumstance. Well, you're going to be missing out on all those opportunities, not only for eliminations, but also picking up key placement points, as we see the French trio picking up the other French trio. Nate gets Clement. Nazor is also going down at the hand of 4ZR, so a good job picking that one up. And we're getting really now into the moving circles. It signifies the transition from mid into late game, and it really is about execution here. And we talk about execution, you see a cheeky little gas can there in Mongrel's inventory.
Oh man, those gas cans, things are about to say quote-unquote explosive, and things are going to pop off as Mongrel, Tayson, and Mitro are popping off right at the moment here. And this is going to be a big-time factor, ladies and gentlemen, because this is where, yes, placements do get dole out, and if you were kind of playing passive and trying to get to in-game as much as possible, you're going to have to frag out right here, because it's going to be all for naught. So right now, there's going to be really, really strong teams in this tournament who walk away with 0 points because they just so happen to fall right in this moment. But now we're getting to placement times. It's top 17. Moraine gets a pickup on Savage. Benji returns the favor and gets the elim on Moraine. And here you go, the rotation into the safe zone. You're seeing the shockwaves, which is a very rare mobility item. So a lot of players, you're going to have to hold on to that. That shockwave is a grenade that allows you to vault through builds and gives you immunity to fall damage. So it's such a strong thing as the chaos unfolds. You're going to see multiple layers here built here, folks. You're going to see bottom layer, mid layer, and of course the ultimate height layer. As we're on board with Jatsu and Vise and Paco. Paco already gone. Jatsu picking up 1.2 elims right now, and the squad together has 6 points as placements are being doled out. Nate is still up getting an elim, and you're seeing the zone is going to move back to the west. And like you said, Sundown, this is going to be a very chaotic bottom layer because it's all going to be player builds, and players are going to have to keep their head on the swivel to avoid those edit eliminations.
Yeah, and we're into the top third of the lobby now, 33 players remaining. You saw that explosion. That was the gas can thrown out from Mongrel. But up on the high ground right now, you have Just Spray and Lanouf. You can see the Become Legends players on the side. Tayson does get picked up there. We saw Jamside pick up Mitro on the side, which means it could just be Mongrel left. And here it is on board with him. He has the one knock, popping the minis now to try and find the side. Only 8 points to their name so far with such a successful start. It's going to be all on the back of the young English player to see what he can do. Some great tunneling coming out, making sure he's on the side of the zone. Lecce picking up Amplify, also signifying that trio is still in the game. The Doomstill main area, not on height where you typically see them because of the excess shockwaves that come from landing at that vault in that POI. Mongrel now setting up the ramp for a crash pad, but poorly executed because the player on top ended up blocking it. Going to look for his own layer now with 2 crash pads left and just staying alongside the side. We've noticed 5 players have gone down, but not a single full trio going down, so no points going through. Mongrel actually going to go all the way to the front side of the zone with a brilliantly executed crash pad. It cost him 2 ticks to the zone, but now he has priority on all the players who are going to rotate through him. This is the spot where the young player looks to make plays, but while he's looking for plays, Lecce continues racking up elim after elim after elim. He's been the entirety of that top left feed so far.
Lecce is one of those players that has to prove that he can run with Savage, and oh my goodness, down goes Mongrel. Lazari, it's just a matter of time, Sundown. You were looking at his match situation. He had nothing but wood, and that is just going to be a green light. But look at height. It is, I believe that's going to be Reese's pick for ZR. Kezix and Nate, they have the strong human, and I can't believe the team from Doom of Benji loses height, but they're still in the mix right now as they get a split. 4ZR at the ultimate high. Look at the left side. 4ZR is really high up there, so no one could take height with him with the shockwave. And then down below is Nate and Kezix are kind of disrupting everything down below, and that is what's called a split. And that split's going to be a big-time factor right now. Now we're on board with the top of the split as Benji goes down, Lecce goes down, so it's just going to be a matter of time. It is Reese's pick all in the writing right now as they have the advantage here, Sundown.
It's Become Legends on the low ground against Grizzy and Rams, the French against this squad here. And one thing, Larice, the converted, I believe, mobile or console player, coming over and having a great showing so far. Rifla and Slicks, the team we saw beforehand, are now going to deal with the crash pads being down. It should be an execution from the top, cleaning this up. They're already on 14 eliminations. Can they make it 17? Or can the Become Legends trio do something from the low ground? Larice goes down first to 4ZR, up on the high ground. Kezix finds Rifla, and then right at the end, he catches Slicks in the face. He says, nah, we take all of those 17 eliminations and the victory royale for match number 1 in the EU FNCS.
Zeke, Shio, Reese, what an unbelievable start here at the EU region. Break it all down for us as the French team walk away with the first victory royale.
Well, Reese, I'm just gonna.
I'm happy. I'm just gonna.
Wow, big W here from 4ZR and Nate. I mean, I did not anticipate your first time here just making a prediction, being so fluid, onboarded quickly, and now you're just saying, hey guys, what's up? I'm good at my job. So you're now dubbed Shy Wager. Shy Wager, I'm sorry. You're no longer Shy Wager. We'll figure out your name, but yeah, great game from this trio. What'd you guys think after that?
Reese, I'll toss it to you, man. Like, that was your trio that you predicted, but at the same time, they had a really good overall game.
It was my trio indeed. I'm proud of them. I'm proud of them. I called it straight away. I said it. Maybe there was some hesitation because they're not dropping Dooms. They're not one of the most dominant teams so far, but they got 17 eliminations. 17 eliminations and the Victory Royale in Game 1. Exactly as I predicted. Sweaty Sands uncontested. First game, huge Victory Royale. And I couldn't be more happier. Obviously, I'm sure they're happy too, but I'm just being selfish right now. I'm obviously over the moon.
The one thing I really liked about this trio, especially on that last 3v3, and this was a very interesting end game that we saw, was actually a trio versus trio. Both of them full force, match ready, you know, all the weapons firing. Was the way Kha'Zix and 4ZR kind of played around each other, going for the elims, while Nate was kind of the distraction. That was really cool. We talk about like medic roles and the roles that slay out a lot, but we never talk about like, you know, traps being set up. So that was really cool from these guys to drop it down, and I'll live towards that end game.
Oh, man. Well, let's see how things are shaking out in the standings here after that first game. Now, of course, Rams, Kha'Zix, 4ZR, and Nate finding themselves in the #1 spot. Look at that breakaway, though, guys. 42 points. Now, the big note here is take a look who's right behind them, though. Benji, Fishy, Savage, and Lechy. Do keep in mind the spread in points differential here because they placed 5th in that last game, but still racking up 12 eliminations as a team to keep them in 2nd place.
Yeah, one thing we notice is that people end up popping off but never get to stay consistent. So we'll see if that top 5 gets to stay the same overall today. Remember, 2-day competition. Past that, though, at 10th place, Mongrel, Mitro, and Tayson are going to be holding down that spot with 12. And over here, Reese, it looks a little bit closer.
It does, it does. Between 6th and 10th, there's only 3 points difference. It's obviously just game 1 so far, but that's only 3 points. 3 eliminations would put you up 5 slots in total. As you can see here in our 15th slot and top 15 qualify through to the heats is only 5 points so far. I'm not going to worry about this too much because there's still 11 games more to go right now. So it's not a huge indicator just based on the first game, but so far all the people that we've just seen, first all the way through the 15th, those are the guys who are currently in position to qualify.
Absolutely, guys. I just gotta it's almost like a breath of fresh air to see this trios competition, right? Like, we've seen so much solos, and when we're approaching the overall gameplay, it's like when we jump to trios, everything that's happening on screen, you have to multiply by 3. Am I rotating? Okay, cool. Well, I have 2 friends. How are we gonna do that? Am I gonna take a shot at that guy who's trying to walk in through the storm to be safe? Well, there's 3 of his friends, and I have, you know, I've got 2 of my boys here. Right? Like, even these end games are absolutely hectic. You know, we're still seeing these massive pools of players. Right there at the end, it was like 50 players, but you have to break that into 3, right? All these trios are running around, watching these end games, navigating these fights. It's ridiculous.
You said multiply it by 3. You can multiply it again by 10. Long divide it, put it in brackets. With trios, there's so many more layers, guys, and it's so much fun to watch. Every game, I guarantee, will be that much more different, especially with that team dynamic.
Indeed, and the team dynamic is something really, really interesting to look at, right? These guys are always playing around with each other, fighting from different angles, height, one pinching from below, above, wherever it may be. These guys are always fighting together really, really effectively.
That's right. Now, guys, I mean, we have to talk about it. These massive POIs that have hit the game, Doom's Domain, Stark Industries, you know, these are 2 pretty big-name POIs that drive a lot of traffic. There's so much to offer from both of these POIs. And we're seeing some of the teams land, walk away successful. Others, not the case. So talk to me a little bit about both these POIs. Shai, let's start with you.
Yeah, when it comes to Dooms and Starks, the most powerful POIs, they have the vaults, but in total, it's kind of just all about how you know, navigate after that POI as well. There's always fights to be taken, and it switches up game to game, but for me, Reese, I feel like they're still very, very strong.
They're extremely powerful, extremely powerful. And even if you don't get the vault, if you forget about the vault, some of these places still have some of the best loot on the map. There's some guaranteed chest spawns within Stark that have those really, really rare pumps that come in. They're almost guaranteed going to the epic or legendary pumps as well. So really good not having to upgrade if you drop to another place. So there's some super powerful loot, even if you don't manage to get all of the vault as well.
That's right. Let's take a look at some of these things you guys have lined up for us. Break it down, gentlemen.
Awesome.
Indeed,
For Dooms, this is where it starts off. Reese, I will actually toss it to you because I think you have more of an insight on this one.
Indeed, indeed. This is where all of it has gone down. We have Aqua, Noah Riley, and then also Rezon, and they're contesting Benji Fishy, Mr. Savage, and Lecce. And this fight was something very, very interesting to look at, right? A lot of the times these teams and these fights are drawn out so long. They take so long to go there. You can see also over at Stark Industries right now, you're seeing our other most dominant team throughout some of the weeks previously. Mitro, Tayson, and Mongrel landing completely uncontested. Now that, something we said earlier, is a completely scary thought.
Scary thought. Also have to really be good at actually getting that uncontested drop efficiently, right? These guys all landed way far away from each other. One person at that hangar, one person making sure he takes down Iron Man fast, and one person actually Mongrel going for tags. Past that though, when you are contested, there's fights you have to break down, Reese.
Indeed, you can see, I already said, this fight ended very, very quickly. You can see Lecce getting a little bit griefed by one of the henchmen, cleaning that up as Mr. Savage and Benji Fishy go straight down into the basement here. I can already see the HP advantage that they have. Aqua, which is 200 only, and Noah Riley both have no shields at this minute. Rezon, still 200 HP, but you can see they're consistently able to pressure these guys on low ground. And you can see there, Mr. Savage getting on top, throwing the shockwave down into the box, and you can see him knock all of these opponents as he goes down, and that's an easy trio wipe very, very quickly.
Absolutely. That was kind of the early game breakdown there for these POIs. Kind of adaptive, being like a liquid form of movement of game style from these players. Past that, though, you know, things start to evaporate into gas as the game heats up. They've played it out in endgame. These guys are currently in second place right now by 20 points. We'll see exactly how these guys end up heating up so far with more game in the gas as the game heats up.
You love to see it. And I gotta appreciate this trio, right? They're just taking that early game engagement. They're ready to go. And speaking of ready to go, I'm getting word from the bus driver. It's time for game number 2. So let's send it back over to Sundown in Sancho West to get us into game number 2 here of the Fortnite Champions Series. Take it away, guys.
Thank you so much, Zeke, Reese, and Shio. This is game 2. Game 1 going to Kezix, 4ZR, and Nate. Racking in 42 points with 17 elims. Sundown, it has to be going for that high play. I'm just surprised that Benji, Savage, and Lecce gave that up, considering they had all the power in Doom's Mystical Bomb.
Yeah, I'm probably going to have to go back and watch the VOD and see what didn't enable them to kind of have the high ground, whether they were forced to kind of burn shockwaves during some point in time or somebody got picked off early. As we can see, that first zone there on the screen, kind of mirrored of the last one, just over on the other side, but we're going to flip right away into a fight going on here. You can see Clement picking up a down almost immediately onto Miazzo, and then a big shot right away, utilizing that charge shotgun and getting some good damage down. We kind of talked about its strength, particularly during these early fights, and being able to get those kind of quick little shots off. But the disengage coming through right now, so only going to be able to convert onto the one for now, but I anticipate they'll try and likely chase that player down. You don't really want to leave stragglers around, particularly when there's a reboot ban so close.
Yeah, and of course that is the ability to bring back your player using the reboot card. The team has to recover the card. Once you get eliminated, you turn into this nice, kind of like a hard drive disc, and you jam it right into the reboot, and that brings you back. And after the reboot is used, it takes some time. There is a cooldown. Here is the format. Victory Royale gets you 25 points. Second place, 20. Third, 16. Fourth through 17 is going to get you essentially 14, like 1 point. And then each elim's 1 point, as Sammy picks up a nice elim from a distance. And those are the kind of things that you kind of almost feel bummed out about, that you get eliminated from so far away. I think that was the straggler that there was coming out, and Sammy was able to pick off the pickings right then and there. But those are big. Every point matters, and you're already seeing in the, getting into that top 15 barrier, it's only literally 5 points to get you there. So that's a big-time pickup, as we're seeing our winners here at Sweaty Sands, Kezix, Nate, and 4ZR.
And you can see immediately priority for most of these trios is get as many of those hard mats as possible. There's always going to be an opportunity to pick up some additional wood as you're rotating through. It's one of the most plentiful supplies on the map. However, getting the breaking, getting the metal efficiently at the start of the round is very, very, very important. You can see Nate making sure he's hitting up all of those RVs and has a car to rotate as well as they head on over to the Quinjet. We've kind of talked about the Quinjets a little bit and why they're strong, getting the additional henchman chests that are on the inside with that powered up loot, but also the Stark rifles. When you're playing at this high of a level, it harkens back to kind of those not the hunting rifles, excuse me, the infantry rifle and those clips of Mongol just sitting up on the high ground and just lasering people away. It's one of the fastest first shot accuracy reset guns in the game. It also hits the hardest. But speaking of hits the hardest, Akusto just hits Kiriaki in the face with that legendary pump. That's kind of that get out of jail free card. You don't get him so often, but the 200 nail out there picks it up and might flip this Fortia fight the other way as Rotary goes down. Now, we saw them take this fight the first way, but a little bit of revenge coming through as now it's into a 3v1. Rotary gets cleaned up completely, and this is going to be incredibly
yeah.
It's basically 26th place right here with Day, Kuso, and Simp going against Kiriachi's squad of 18th. And this is going to be the battles that are going to happen, the early POI fights. We already saw it with Savage up there with Noah Riley and Aqua. All this is just going to keep going back and forth, and we're going to have 12 matches of this. And we kind of mentioned at the opening of the broadcast Sundown, these guys, these players, they're not going to give it up. And this is just week 1 here of the FNCS Trios. Chapter 2, Season 4. So we got a lot of work to do, and we're already seeing Savage, Benji, and Lecce putting in the work and already rotating out. We're already seeing the vehicles scattered throughout the entire map, which is a new addition because, again, Trios, the last time we were here was about a year ago. So much has changed, and, of course, the whole map has changed. And we're seeing also as well Benji on the top utilizing the upgrade station, which is a kind of a big-time factor here. If you don't go or you don't get anything from a vault, as Shio mentioned, the best way to upgrade your kit is from the upgrade station. That is where you're going to see players literally walk away with the power weapons like the epic shotgun, which has been such a big factor. And you got to have those power weapons, Sundown, especially heading to in-game, because you got to have a max output of damage, considering that you have small windows and opportunities to kind of lay one out. As we see Tayson here, the solo champion, looking for an opportunity to lay somebody out with a sniper rifle.
And honestly, one of the stronger snipers in the region who's not named Thomas HD. You can see him trying to line up a shot here on the side. Will end up taking it and then following up right away with some AR shots. You can see Tiltern over on the side of the second one coming through. Looks like he was able to actually convert on that, so well done from Tayson. He says deal with that. Able to pick it up and convert onto the first elim coming out from that trio. Looks like Metro might have been taken down early there. Don't see him on the map there. His name was grayed out. You see Mongo immediately going over and just trying to scavenge whatever he can from that. So Dovin and Tavern are now going to rotate around that outside, saying, nope, we're leaving you over there. Not wanting to deal with those two. We know what they bring to the table. And they're just going to take the long rotation on the northern side there, going around the outside. But I think the upgrade benches are one of the least talked about and kind of, I don't want to say underutilized, but it's kind of a stepping stone into the upper tier of competitive play, knowing how to correctly and when to correctly utilizing that, knowing when to side grade a charge and when's the appropriate situation, which for most of these players is all the time. You can see that Kirky, Mira, and Mona are making their first FNCS qualifiers appearance, so good for them being able to push through in a region that is so strong. Europe obviously being the most played in, and in my opinion, the most competitive region from top to bottom, and being able to push into that qualifier while some other names are not able to be here and aren't competing today. I mean, that speaks volumes about their performance.
I agree, and this is like the only one FNCS. They only have one FNCS Heat appearance combined, and they never made a weekly finals. So what a time to show out here. And this is, their studies show that if you do well here on the broadcast for Fortnite, if you do well on the main stage, everything goes up. Your social presence goes up, your streamer numbers go up, your Twitter followers go up. So this is the opportunity to show out when the spotlight is on. Again, we have 6 games here today. Later, we have NA East when they go through their first wins. Already, all of our players here in the EU region have competed for 3 hours, and not to talk about that, but the day before. So a lot of competitive play. And I got to say, Sundown, a lot of our players are young. You know, school's in session for a lot of them. So this is going to be very crucial to get the job done, so you don't have to worry about it too much going forward. But I can't imagine performing at this level at their age.
Oh, it's just absolutely nuts. I mean, I am floored every single day by the mechanical ability of, I want to say kids, but in all honesty, it's these teenagers and young adults now at this point in time who are really able to kind of push forward and just do this at such a consistent level day in and day out. The discipline it takes and the ability to hit shots like that. And that's Savage, our second place trio, being picked up by the M10 trio and Cartoon, trying to put some pressure on them right now. That's Savage, but they're under pressure now. You can see trying to disengage immediately away from them. They left Savage down, saying, sorry, can't get you out, can't kind of get the carry and the throwaway that you look for those immediate snipes, because this team gets the pick from the high ground going down. And this abandoned ghost base and rotating out of it is a perfect spot to kind of set these quick little ambushes. There's a lot of real sharp verticality. We're able to break that line of sight. And I don't think you noticed, but creeping above the hill right now and setting up another ambush for this team is a third team. So we have a fourth party looking to potentially get involved. And I'm not sure if the M10 trio knows they're there. So let's swing on board. We've seen our second place trio get a little bit scarred. And I believe Forziar and are actually rotating now along the same line, so they'll be heading towards this battle of 3 other trios right now.
It's amazing, though, the confidence of Benji and Lechi. Down goes Lechi. So now it's up to Benji to get this done. It's unbelievable. This is the 29th place team going into this battle, taking out second place. And we're seeing how high the level of competition here. We're talking about the top 1% of everybody. I'm sure the percentages are a lot lower, but math is not my strong suit. So every single player here is dangerous. Every single player here can show out, and Benji had to show out of this fight, but he runs right into the #1 spot of Forziar, Kansas, and Nate. This is going to be a 4-way battle. The Fatal 4 is happening, and Benji is literally down to Sliver, and you know they smell the elimination in the water, and it's just a matter of time. But Benji's here to fight, and he had no option. He was literally hiding behind one build, and he takes a shot, and the vibes are vibing because VorCR and the trio squad have 43 points, and already second place went down. So that's going to give them the ability, Sundown, to continue and add to that lead.
Yeah, they're going to be able to open up the lead here. One thing that's really important to note, while it is a benefit to be uncontested, it can also put you in a slightly awkward spot where you need to go fish for tags, because if you don't see and don't interact with anyone, then that first Storm Surge zone, it's like, yeah, I have all this shield and all this awesome stuff, but I haven't seen a player, which means I'm going to be threatened from that mighty purple hammer coming from the sky, just like Anto, Yoda, and Abuelo Jack are going to be right now. You can see Storm Surge threshold there, 41 below, so not only are they outside of the zone and they have a team directly gatekeeping them on the other side, trying to prevent them from rotating in, but they need to be aggressive here and seek some tags out. The question is, will they utilize the tools and the utility they have right now? 2 shockwaves and a gas can should be more than enough to get at least 79 damage, if not convert on elimination. And here it is. Gas can set up first. Got to shoot it. Pop comes through. They use the crash pad right afterward to try and see if they can't get an explosion through, but no damage is going to seek through. So now it's a race against the Storm at their back and the Storm Surge in front, which is going to activate right now. And on top of that, they have a pretty far rotate, pretty much the farthest possible. But they say, doesn't matter about the rotate, doesn't matter about the team in front of us. We're just going to go right around the side. Leroy Jenkins it. No problem. Just straight through the Storm and straight into Prago's box. Pick up the Elim, pick up the mats, a much-needed refresh, a much-needed siphon. They get the bandage cannon as well, and that's about as good as that push could have gone.
Absolutely. The bucket of chicken was consumed, and they pushed right into it. You kind of have to put caution to the wind when the Storm Surge is at your door. Essentially, not only that, the Storm Surge sends a big beacon of light for everybody to know I'm getting hit by a lot. Now, Antu and the squad, Abuelo, Yoda, are not done here. They have 200 above HP, and they're still vibing. And this is big because they come in into 17th place, and they only pick up 1 placement point. So the Elims are kind of coming in right now, right at the right time for Yoda, Abuelo, and Anto.
Yeah, and we talk about, again, a lot of this action being driven by the Storm Surge, but you see the Become Legends trio also picking up a pair of elims, and a great shot from Anto underneath, following and replacing the ramp at the same time, picking that one up. But again, you can see they're still pinned against the side here, and they need to be careful on this rotation. They've cleaned up the immediate danger, and now that other player recognizing that, hey, no more shots are happening over there, they're going to immediately turn the attention to me. And one thing I want to note there, Yoda, using the Clay Classic, shout out to Clay there, the harpoon in the close quarters to not let your opponent put pieces up and then to potentially just snag those quick little pulls that can be so absurdly disorientating in kind of those close quarters and third-person situations. But now they're going to be forced to rotate kind of those yellow triangles directly in front of them, trying to keep them out. As we say that, Storm Surge still coming through and performing pressure. Mongo coming in, and hello? Somebody just shockwaved over into him. That's Till being taken down. An insta-finish there. So that was actually a solo who was stuck in between. The yellow team will be rotating in as well next to the purple squad. Tayson will knock down Mido, and that will be the last of at least the first Storm Surge. But this crew will have enough heals to be on the outside. It's just, this is going to be one heck of a rotation to kind of execute on.
Yeah, and there you're seeing they're using the shockwave to kind of work their way. Flick, Thomas, Anas, no points so far, as we're going to keep on with the story of them making this crazy rotation. And what gets crazier for them, so now look on the map here, ladies and gentlemen. There's so many triangles or enemy players setting up, and this is now it's time to get lobby focus. And now it's going to be a lot of yikes moment as it's going to go down into the ravine. Abuelo goes down, Yoda goes down. The force was not strong with this one, but hopefully Anto and his force powers could kind of keep him alive, as Thomas HD was able to pick one. Arkin was able to get one on Yoda, but that is the danger of having these late rotations, of fighting so deep into the storm, fighting in your POI so long. I think the story is if you are contested, Sundown, you got to get through that contestant so fast, the contestation, right? Get through it so quickly so that you don't have to have that situation of what happened to Abuelo and Yoda. You got to get through it and get it done so you can go ahead and rotate early and have those valuable storm tags to avoid the storm surge. Right now, on board with Noah Riley, Aqua, Rezon, and this is the team that is competing against Benji there at Doom's Domain, and they have the power of Doom's Mystical Bomb. As you can see, the fire is ablaze, and this is a three-way fight here, and this is going to be this opportunity here. Do they wrap this up quickly enough so they could rotate in and avoid that gatekeeping action that tends to happen here as we're slowly approaching the fourth zone?
Yeah, and you can see they want to put the pressure on this fight. They don't want to make sure their opponents are able to kind of get out and get ahead. Instead, they're going to opt to start that initial rotation, knowing that if they get bogged down here for too long, look at how many other players are on this rotation ahead. And you can see we have the French trio pushing north of now 45 points, I believe, since I saw a number of eliminations there, already directly in front of the rotation path. We have the Become Legends trio also on that lower left-hand corner of your screen there, who have been putting in work in terms of the eliminations, but right now Anto is stuck between a rock and a hard place, with the rock being the bottom of the ravine and the hard place being the rest of the lobby. Knowing he's a solo who is pinned right there, he utilized his shockwaves to even get in that situation. There's no other boxes around him. That basically is like throwing chum in the water, and all of those loot sharks coming over and just trying to get whatever you can. Anto wants to just try and hang on and look for any opportunity he can to potentially get a pick. He's above Storm Surge threshold for now, but with only 33 damage being above it and 14 players to go down, he's going to get pressured on that eventually. He's also just outside the zone, so he needs to find a sneaky way in, and he's going to do it under the gorgeous Gorge Bridge, and Nakesword is going to find him there. Unfortunately, the solo going to get picked up, and Noah Riley finding a down on the Weepow as we move into that fourth zone, closing half in, half out. Will be out after this. But look, the French trio, one of them is down, the second one being pressured under, and this is going to be such a key fight here, Sancho.
A key fight that's breakdown already. A lot of people in the top 5 going down here. We're seeing Aqua getting an Elim, but I think Buster and his squad took down a big one in 4ZR. So down goes 4ZR, and now down goes Nate as he's trying to escape the fight. And this is going to be a very interesting in-game here, because the Sentinels from the Marvel universe of X-Men are here and available. It's going to be an opportunity for people to use to kind of like vault their way or glide the way if they need to here. So it's going to be interesting to see as that on top of that, Sundown, They got the terrain. Last time we had a pretty clean terrain, not that much elevation, but now we have so many mountains. We have the gorge. We have the river that could be a factor here going in. This is the half in and half out. But Buster and Zed here put a big favor on the rest of the lobby, trying to catch up to our top two, who are so far ahead, and already one is down, and we already saw Benji and Savage and Lechi go down, so that's going to open up the door for a lot of the teams to vault their say up into the top 5 and possibly into the top 3.
And so the story here is the fact that Raison and his team, Aqua, were able to push them out of Dooms, Benji and Co. So they got forced on an early rotation. They then get sandwiched between the top French trio and another team who's holding the high side of the hill. French trio able to pick that one up. However, they then get contested towards the center of the zone. And now, realistically, the top 2 teams are effectively out and not going to be able to pick up some points. That's going to leave the Become Legends trio, who have been hip to hip the entire time, hanging out in the boxes, working the low ground, and picking up and converting on these eliminations, as we see Mongrel self-eliminate there as we close in onto the initial point gap. The Become Legends trio of Slicks, Rifla, and Lariz are really the only fully intact trio out of the top 5 who are going to have an opportunity to push forward here, and they've been lighting up the elimination feed again. We can see Floki picking up Wyzip there as we close in on that final placement threshold. Again, every single placement from 17th onward out of the trios will be an additional point, so just surviving and staying in, if you're one of those rats, if you're one of those lonely members of the trio who's just looking to find a nook or a cranny to not get knocked out, as Raison will get cleaned up there from Cammy. 18 trios still remaining. Nobody wants to be that last one knocked out. You want every single point possible.
And the rat race is on, and everybody's looking for that slice of cheese. And any bit of cheese is going to be a big factor. Again, this is going to be an entire run of 12 games total. This is game 2 of the FNCS trios here, EU. And this is going to be day 1 of all the action, as down goes Jeppin, as Moraine is still up. But Nakor here gets a big-time elimination, and he's looking really nice. He has 4 eliminations this match, has a lot of materials, and you're taking a look at right now. Looks like Flick, Thomas are still up, and they're at the close to height, but someone did contest them, and you're seeing all the mobility of the crash pads go out as everybody's making their way into the safe zone. And this is going to be interesting, though, Sundown, because the south side of the zone is going to be on an elevation, as we're on board here with Betty, iDrop, and Strysix, and they're doing some nice work here, and this is with that kind of team composition that we've been seeing. You have someone leading the way, tarping the squad in, while the guy on the backside is looking for picks, and the guy in the middle, as Reese kind of pointed out, is the support. He's going to be the guy that's like, hey, I have an opportunity for picks, I'm going to let down in the spray. Or, hey, I need more materials from the front, he's going to give that materials. But what a great work right here, and what a clean layer for Vettel, iDrop, and Strysix right now.
And Vettel right there was able to take out Tayson, and that was a full elimination. So Tayson, Mitro, and Mongrel completely out, and they're done. We're also into the top 17 now, so every single trio who is fully eliminated will be a point going over. And because we're in such small circles and we're into the late game, those points are going to tick over very quickly. This is the late, and this is where we need to keep an eye on who is lighting up that elimination feed and who is able to get a layer by themselves, and then who ends up going and challenging the high ground. Those are the things you're keeping an eye on right now as we're heading into the late game. And right now, Vettel, iDrop, and Cyrix have plenty of room for themselves on this mid-ground tarp.
Yeah, and the great benefit is going back a little bit off to the side here. Taking a look on height is Moraine and Lunef, and they're putting some strong pressure down on Flick. Flick is the only one, I believe, in the squad that's alive. And if you're alive and you're on your feet, you're getting placement points. So we're talking on your top right of the screen, it's Lunef laying down the pressure here, and he has a lot of opportunities because he has shockwaves to defend himself. Taking a look at the low. The low ground right now is being built by Aircoon. Aircoon is there, and Flick is now, and Flick is out.
Flick gets taken out, but also, look, we saw these guys on height the end of last game. However, they're starting to run low on mats. But look at the middle tarp. We talk about that Become Legends trio and how they've been hip to hip the entire time, while everyone else is bleeding over placements top 20 players left. Top 8 going down. They're uncontested. They've been going through, they've been sharing mats, and they're the only ones left. And now Moraine and Lanouf are going to be forced down eventually. Keep an eye on what happens on the low ground when they're forced down and who's able to go over and who's able to benefit, because the Become Legends trio is in a prime spot to take advantage of it if they don't get knocked down and they don't get contested right here. Single tarps from the high ground signifies they're completely out of their stuff. Low ground continues getting run through right now. You have Lanouf in the top right, but he's down to his last 3 mats. ADN, Amplify, and Matzo being the ones on the ultimate low ground trying to work through, but the Become Legends crew is dropping down now, and this is their chance to shine.
It's their chance to shine right now as we're getting into the top 6. Moraine, Lanouf right now out of mats. And you're right, Sundown. It has become Legends time as they are coming into this match in 4th place. An opportunity to overtake the top 3. There goes a Shockwave for height. And no doubt that's going to be a big factor here as we're on board here with SoFi Amplify. They're the last 2 remaining members. And it is a top 3 situation. And Moraine is still holding on height and fighting off the Become Legends. Slicks and Rifle. Oh no, my goodness. What a big time cut down from SoFi. And it's going to be a nice opportunity. Was that a harpoon for the victory royale? Oh my goodness. Game 2 goes down to Amplify and Matzo. Woo! What a crazy finish there, Sundown.
That was so flashy and so well executed from them, knowing the moment was going to happen, and instead of panicking, able to stay together and capitalize on it. I mean, just so well done. 2 matches down out of 12 so far. Both of them, we've seen incredible opportunities from trios. We've seen top trios get taken down early and then have their revenge. The question is, who's going to be able to keep it up over this absolute marathon and slog of a first qualifier?
Yeah, and so many players are already kind of being contested and being pushed out. We're already having not such like a dominance. We're seeing like a 1v1 in these opening 2 matches already. Savage getting pushed out by Aqua. And then you see other matches happening everywhere. So that is what's really amazing, seeing these matchups. But we got to get a breakdown from the boys. Zeke, Shio, Reese, what you got for us?
Guys, thank you so much for that great game number 2. That's the chaos that I live for. Massive, massive props to ADN. And you have to look as well, Matzo was down. So this was 2 players locking down a game for their trio. You'll love to see it. Guys, we are going to take a look at the standings, though, because we cannot forget, last game, Kezix and his trio, they popped off in big ways, but they were brought down earlier on in the game. What do these standings look like now? They do maintain that first place, but that massive gap is now only a 3 points difference, Shy.
Yeah, they had a 24-point lead beforehand, and because of that, a little bit of space if one game goes awry by any means. This time, though, everything's on the line for Game 3 coming up. Big performance from the Train H duo paired with ADN. These guys got a very nice game, ended up winning out. So 2 victory royales for 1st and 2nd place overall.
And in 3rd, what we didn't really see a lot is Rifler, Slicks, and Lariz. These guys have actually placed 2nd in the first game, and then in that last game we just watched, they placed 3rd. So some real consistency coming out of them. Average placement of 2.5. So very, very impressive from them.
Savage, Benji.
Out in 7th, you do see Benji, Fishy, Savage, Lechy. They're doing okay, right? It is top 15 that will move on to heats. So they're doing okay, but now we're starting to look at what that top 15 threshold is. 14 points so far. But again, we're only 2 games down. We have 4 more today and another 6 tomorrow. So there's still room to improve there.
Yeah, no, this game, we saw it in game number 1, was about 5 points when you were over here. Now it's all the way up to 10. This one is the one where we were kind of near that 1 to 0 point threshold, but for the 20th place overall, now it's doubled to 9, and it's a tie between Anas, Thomas, and Flick, who are uncontested at 19th, so we'll see if they can get that power all the way over there towards the leaderboard, not just the drop. We'll see if it's possible. But that last game was basically like a boxing match up on height. The BL boys on the ropes, throw a punch, but then what was that in the background? You heard it. Chugga 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 chugga, a train all the way down below with the Train H duo, and they picked that up. It was just beautiful to see.
Reese, if you haven't watched before, this is what we have to do with my friend. That game was absolutely incredible. EU is just ramping up so hard. I thought after that first game, we watched Kezix, 4ZR, and Nate. They were popped off. They popped off pretty big. We kind of watched everyone else having to catch up, but EU's bringing it, boys. They brought it real hard. Now, speaking of this trio, this game, didn't quite go their way.
Indeed, it did not. Indeed, it did not. Again, they're landing uncontested at Sweaty Sands. Same as the first game, right? Completely uncontested. You can see Kezix has some fantastic loot. They end up rotating out of here. They're using the cars to do that, get that little bit more efficient rotate on.
Yeah, and they had a nice little path in the beginning. This is kind of just like a context into how this team played out this game and how things kind of went differently from game number 1 to number 2. Rotations were looking nice, shields tossed over and out between teammates. They actually got to pick up Benji in second place from the first game overall, so that affected that whole trio's performance. Past that, though, there were a few issues.
Indeed, if you notice that last clip, they were a little bit behind on zone, and you can see here that catches up to them because they haven't been able to get a good spot for Storm Surge tags, meaning Nate is going to have to go in and make a really psycho play to get these Storm Surge tags, or they're going to be eliminated. 4ZR does exactly the same thing and then gets eliminated himself.
Yeah, sometimes big plays crash hard. That's what happens. And then Kezix past that had to try to solo clutch. Was playing really well. Got into a few boxes. He was kind of the solo now. No more teammates to really deal with to help him or even hinder him in any moments at all in this endgame. Picks up one elimination at some point, but then right after that gets taken out. To get there, though, sick bouncer plays all the way from height down below. He has a nice double bouncer combination, a lock in, gets a box in, gets one person inside his box or close beside, lands a pump, but then gets taken out.
Yeah, this is that chaos we were talking about, right? And the last game we talked about how things kind of go, right? This adaptability factor. What happens when things go right? What happens when things go wrong? For Kezix, he dropped 2 teammates, right? And at that point, it's all about survival. What can I do? At this point, with those placement points are so valuable, I have to keep myself moving forward. It didn't quite work out for them, but again, this is just game number 2. It's okay, Reese, where there was still hope for your trio.
I didn't mention it. I didn't mention it today.
It's all good.
I talked about it game 1, but not game 2.
We'll see, guys. It is time to get into the next game, game number 3. So let's send it back over to Sancho and Sundown to take us in.
Thank you, Zeke. It is game 3 out of the 6 here in the first day here of round 3 of FNCS Trios. Shouts to everybody watching around the world. We're getting into the midpoint of the day. We're taking a look at it, and it's going to be another zone, and it's going to heavily favor Stark Industries. And Sundown, that's going to be very interesting considering there is high levels of elevation. But the good thing is our players do have some rifts to be able to make their way around.
Yeah, you don't want to end up kind of being on the south side of that Stark Industry rotation if the zone ends up pulling there. Kind of that, I believe it's a concave or convex. I don't know. I always get those two mixed up. But that inverted wall that you're not able to kind of build against if you fall off of it makes it real difficult. But right off of the start, heading on over to Doom's Domain, we talk about this. 2 of our powerhouse teams looking to fight each other, and off of the start here on board with Raison. Just going to clean up as many of those little kind of AI bots as you can. Just make sure they aren't pestering towards the side. We can see already at maximum shields here. And this is one of the key fights. I mean, we've talked about it time and time again, just how important these mythic areas are in Aqua, Noah, and Raison versus Benji, Savage, and Lecce. I mean, those are just 6 of the best players in the world, period. Now you put them all in one drop spot, and it comes down to how well can you execute. And Raison right now looks like he's trying to make a move onto Lecce, has the sniper and a charged shotgun, so has some playmaking ability, but what will he do with it? You can see over on the side, he's actually going to throw a shield out into the open, play a little bit of a bait game, see if he can't get somebody to go over and path towards it. First shot, not quite going to connect. So might prove a little bit necessary there, but you can see Benji will pick up the first elimination there onto Aqua, so first 1v1 going in favor of Benji and crew. You can see Raison looking to find a shot, looking to try and even it up if he can, and right now not necessarily going to find it. Shockwave's coming out, first shot comes through, Raison whiffing, and he really needed to hit that shot because now it's going to be just a straight up 1v2. You can see Noah has already disengaged with the Shockwave here, and honestly, the onus is going to be on Raison to make a play here. He has that kind of green charge shotgun and the LMG, so if he can get wall-to-wall, he can make a play, and now it's all on him as Noah Riley goes down. The first one will be traded out by Raison, good job picking up Lecce, getting the siphon right away to put the pressure on his opponents, but still, it's a 1v2 against Savage and Benji, but Savage is hurting. Just one shot from Raison will be able to put him over. You see the Chug Splash used right away to try and equalize that.
And this is going to be a Titan versus Titan right now. Raison, he is 1v3 in this entire squad, and now he has one more left. As Sundown mentioned, it is Mr. Savage, who was really low, and this is going to be one time of shot with that charged shotgun, and Raison has to be feeling it right now, knowing that he has this trio on the ropes. Raison, can he go for another haymaker and get the big-time knockout and send waves throughout the Twitter universe? The Twitterverse right now is probably buzzing. The chat is buzzing right now as Savage is trying to do his best to salvage this, and it doesn't matter. What a big time hit from Raison, and the clutch is real, and the L dance is real. What a big time show right now. Oh my goodness, Sundown. Woo!
And one thing I want to talk about, one, that should have been slightly easier for Raison if he had hit any of his snipes when they were standing still. But outside of that, a lot of people will talk down on the charged shotgun, but particularly during these early fights where you're not immediately box to box and people don't have a wall there, if you're able to get that charge up, those shots from 2 to 3 panels away are still going to do 100 plus damage. And then all of a sudden, if you're not at that kind of 100 threshold, it becomes that much harder. But right now, we can see Mongrel trying to go to work to salvage a terrible situation for his trio. You can see Mitro and Tayson are both down. First shot goes through, and the conversion also comes through, saving him just barely. You can see it being the difference maker there, picking up 1, picking up 2, using the Chug Splash on the ground as well to make sure that Mitro doesn't tick over there. So a good job and some clutch moments coming out from Raison on Mongrel over at the Mythic POIs. Not necessarily completely uncontested anymore. You can see all it took was 2 matches for some players to come over there and say, no, we're going to show up. We need a little bit more leeway, as now we hop on board with the French trio. Forziar, Kezix, and Nate coming out there and trying to put whatever pressure they can on the side.
And that was big. That was Moraine, Jaspe, and Lunef there, who were coming into 4th place going into that match. So I don't know if that was the time to make a risk right there. If things were working for you, you know, sometimes when the bus flies over a certain POI, you kind of get tempted. Maybe you want to see, I mean, again, this is the week 1 of the entire month of FNCS action that we have, and maybe they want to kind of test their mettle and see what they can do against Mongrel and Mitro and Tayson. I mean, we kind of had so many interviews throughout the entire FNCS competition, and so many times you see the feeds, the names in the feeds, and you kind of get a little bit of jittery as we're seeing Borsiar's trio joins Jinx's OC and Nicer from the Middle East as the only trio with 20 plus elims in 2 games. So we're seeing the other regions putting out some big-time eliminations here. But we are seeing some here as well. You mentioned our number 1 spot, the French squad, already in the double digits for elims in this opening day here for the EU region.
Yeah, and I will give just like a quick correction going through that. Generally, we'll say like the French trio. Forziar is Swiss, I believe, and then from Vietnam originally. However, I do believe they communicate in French because I think Forziar speaks French. Not 100% going on there, but generally referring to them because Grizzy is kind of that French organization as you see going through there. But now on board here with Miro, Snap, and Snap Miro Dog, who I'm not 100% positive is that last one there, but the fight going on by the lumber mill, one of the key areas on the map, a lot really underappreciated just because the sheer volume of wood in the upgrade bench makes it very easy to kind of get the loadouts you want. That's why you see there that epic shotgun going to be able to close the gap here. You can see making sure he's popping those minis so he's at the full HP because that storm is moving in, and we're going to have one of those unresolved trio fights happening now in the storm. So if you got your FNCS bingo card, shout out Aussie Antics. You can tick storm fight off as we have yet another one going on here.
Of course, Aussie Antics and Monster D-Face will be joining the cast here and be your casters for the AE region, the North American East. Is going to be awesome. Don't go anywhere. We have all the action unfolding the rest of the weekend here, and this is going to be, right now we're in game 3 of 6. Tomorrow will be the rest of 6 through 12, and this is going to be an interesting thing, the break in between. Will teams kind of adjust this strategy? Will they understand, is it worth having these engagements way outside the safe zone? And we have been seeing throughout the entire broadcast today, Sundown, that it's not worth it at all. The time consumed the mat resource consumed, and not only that, your health and shield consumed as Wave Snap Miro Dog goes down. So it's up to Snap and Miro to kind of hold out, and down goes Miro. It is not Miro Day. Miro, who's known to invade the North American servers with a lot of aggression, gets taken out, and looks like it's up to Snap and his dog to get the job done, and Snap goes down with a blink and a snap, gets eliminated. Gone, done. See you in the next game. And this is Set Lobby Sundown. There's a lot of time to think about the mistakes you made. Your mental will be tested because we're only in the halfway point of today's action.
Yeah, and you don't want to get caught up in those fights, get taken down outside placement points, outside really the first couple of circles, not getting into a rhythm. And we've talked about just how key that can be. But we've seen this Russian trio get caught up a number of times over here. Rotary, Stormy Right, and Kiriachi trying to disengage from this fight. They do have a Shockwave, so they might look to either team go in. Yes, that's what they're going to do. They're going to team Shockwave into the box. He finds a 152 onto the first one. Can he follow it up? Instead, he goes, nope, finding somebody else. That's Cartoon going down on the other side. Good job to make sure he got the maximum damage headshot on the ground as well. Need everything for it. And the other part of this M10 trio is going to go down as well. You can see Keenix going down there, and I think it's only a matter of time. Yep, Florini finding the other end of that legendary shotgun. Well done from Stormy Right and Rotary there to clean up that fight. A really good job using the horizontal shockwave to get in there.
And that was a battle between this 27th place and the 26th place. So they were only separated by 1 point. So that's going to put Kiriachi, Rotary, Stormy Right a little bit higher as they're going to advance more. Again, the top 15 advance. And we're only talking about a difference going into this matchup of about 11 points or so. So if you have a pop-off game, I know I mentioned normally in solo competition, if you have a pop-off game, you will kind of vault yourself up into the standings. But in trios, you're going to need consistent pop-off games, which is kind of ironic because, you know, pop-off means you only get that one opportunity, but you literally have to pop off about 4 out of the 6 games here to have a chance not only to qualify, but to get in that top 10, in the top 5, and to kind of stake your flag in this region. Again, this is day one. So many trios are out here to prove a point, and so many trios are trying to condition their POIs, condition their loot pass to let you know, don't mess with me, don't cross me, because I will take you out. As we're on board here with Tus. Tus was part of that Russian trio of Stormy Right and Rotary. They've switched out, and Kiriachi now, again, Z kind of brought it up here, Sundown. Our trios have the ability to switch out to different players and things like that. And in the EU region, there's not a lot of that happening as much as in the NA East. NA East, I feel like every day there's a new trio being announced or a new trio being scrimmed. It's kind of crazy to keep up with everything. But Tus, with the new squad, actually doing really well today.
Yeah, and you can see them right now holding the priority zone on top of Starks, making it incredibly hard. We talked about how players then have to burn utility to get up there, and then being able to utilize the pseudo infantry rifle like aiming that comes with the Stark infantry rifle to just get those key Storm Surge tags. And so despite the fact that Tusenko only have 1 elimination coming through, they're 515 damage above the Storm Surge, so not really going to be threatened by that. And as we talk about it, Tus picking up a huge shot there on Today Visitor. Really well done to execute there, and again making sure he lines up a key shot there. Browner will also pick up Joel, making this into a quick little 3v1 and giving them a nice little repository of jellyfish and slurpfish there. Some of the new fishes coming through, they're going to be able to top themselves up and should have more than enough mats and loot to all be at maximum after this.
Yes, at the moment right now, Tus and the squad are barely scratching the surface when it comes into the leaderboard, but at least they got to this point, and considering that they were newly formed, that is going to be a big factor. But here on board with my pick here, Tomas, Flick, and Anas only began banding together competitively as a trio fairly recently. Back in August, Flick and Anas were likely more familiar as they played together all the way back in August. And they've been teammates for Become Legends, despite the lack of competitive history together at Sundown. This trio burst some of the biggest names in competitive Fortnite. I mean, you said so yourself, Thomas HD has the ability to snipe anyone from a distance, and it's kind of crazy that he's been around since the World Cup days. And we have Anas coming in from the FNCS squads, making his name of that, and Flick, for those of you who've been watching this broadcast, you may remember Flick from the FNCS Invitational. So this trio is very similar to the names that didn't make it, like Analix, Janice, and Squeezy. So look for Thomas' experience and skill and leadership to lead this team to success as they continue on. But this was my pick because every time I'm watching him, They do so well together, and Nas and Flick are just fraggers. As you're seeing, they take out Mona, who's making their first time appearance here in a grand final type situation. But I gotta root for this pick here, Sundown. I gotta know what Zeke has in store for that secret prize.
And you can see there, Anas, you talk about him being a fragger. And honestly, I think Thomas kind of takes a little bit of a step back when you get into trios in that role, because so much of his presence comes from the sniper and comes from that AR aim. But Anas is just good. Anas is freaking solid as a player. Not to take anything away from Thomas and Flick, they're also very good. But when Anas is comfortable going box to box against any other player in this region, and he's able to go, and it doesn't matter the game mode. That's the biggest thing for me. The fact that he's willing to take those fights in solos, but he's also willing to put himself at the front of these rotations, take those key wall-to-wall pump shots. I mean, he's somebody you really should be following and keeping an eye on if you aren't already, because he makes waves in every single trio and every single competition he plays in. There's always at least one play you can either learn from or just watch and go, you know, that was pretty sick.
Yeah, absolutely. Finished 7th place in the FNCS squads, finished 8th place in the FNCS duos. As a solo player, he's finished 16th in the FNCS Invitational, 9th in DreamHack back in July, but just recently as well finished 10th in that FNCS solo. So close to getting that Axe of Champions, which is something that only a few players in the world get. And that is what their trios are not only competing for a lot of money, yes, at the end of the month, but it'd be very nice to have that awesome pickaxe as Jachu picks up an Elim right here on knock, actually. And this is what's going to be a big time factor. That elevation gives so many players eyes and range opportunities to kind of set down beams on everyone down below. At Sundown, the people down below are in a risk, because if the circle pulls up this little elevation, they're going to be a big time factor of losing all their mat resources and having the focus of the lobby. Because not only this squad of Jachus here, there's like kind of like a great wall of forts being built up here, and they're going to gatekeep a lot of people trying to get their way in.
Yeah, and they're less of a Mongol horde and more of just a couple of scavenged zombies on the side just desperately trying to break in. Like, let me in, and everyone on top is just like, no. This is a prime example. Hey, if you want to know what gatekeeping looks like in Fortnite, the ones on top of the hills are the gatekeepers, and the one underneath on the bottom of the hills are the ones being gatekept. And this is kind of one of the most absolute dreaded zones in competitive Fortnite. The 4th circle has now pulled almost a dead 50-50 split, maybe call it 60-40, with 60% of it being up on the high ground in terms of Starks, 40% being on the low ground, where there's only one singular zip line that has an angle going over. That means anybody who is up on top of Starks and is able to be on that zone now has priority. The problem is, when we get into those moving zones, if you go up or down either side and then you go back over, you're effectively telling everyone, hey, you have to burn all of your utility, because late game ziplines aren't super viable. If somebody's on either end, you're just gonna get beamed like you have a controller staring at you in that circumstance. But right now, Tiltern trying to make somebody pay with that sniper and force it off, because you see they have to get inside that zone, and even then, just being on the edge of the circle, they're not really safe, because if it pulls up on the top side, they don't have an exit strategy.
Not at all. And the only exit you will be facing is back to the lobby here. This is game 3, the midpoint. The intensity is building up, and I believe usually when you see these kind of Polar Peak 2.0 types of endings, you're going to see a lot of trios fall. It's going to be a very interesting in-game, as Tiltern was able to clean up one there and see how this kind of works out here. Lining up the shot. It's kind of like a face-off between both men looking at each other through the cracks of the wood there. But you got to be careful here, as Tez in the squad with only 1 point here today. You know, all it takes is a couple, and there it is, another one. It's basically free. No one kind of shooting it, but their biggest puzzle piece they have to solve is how they're going to make their way up. And already there was a trio that kind of built their way, and look at the lobby focus spray that just happened as Mongrel, Tayson, and Mitro are now kind of heating up, as they were here this entire time here. They never left Stark Industries. They never have to. They get beams, and this is going to be in their favor, because they didn't burn a lot of their utility. They didn't burn their mobility. All they had to do is move a couple of 100 yards over, and they're in zone.
and this is the Become Legends trio who they just got a down on. That's Slicks, and they're going to know now that that's a potential 2v3. And one thing to note that I kind of wanted to talk about, we didn't get an opportunity. Notice how a lot of the trios are opting to run double burst within a Stark rifle. The reason for this is because if you have the ammunition to support it and you're not worried about the medium bullets, which the Stark rifle doesn't necessarily burn through as many as fast, where the burst does, that allows you to be throwing so much damage towards these walls that all of a sudden, if you aren't holding a wall and having a turbo build on it, and one burst in a Stark rifle shot sneaks through, that's 100 plus HP. Guaranteed, even if it's just body, 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 with all three of those shots, you're losing the entirety of your shield, and right there it ends up turning into a key down on what has so far been the most consistent trio. We've talked about how good they're being hip to hip and not getting picked off. Well, immediately insert open mouth put in foot right there, getting taken down in Slicks, picked off by Tayson, Mongrel, and co. And a really good job for them rotating. But we talk about seeing where that fifth zone is. It's pulling down and away, which means a number of players are going to have to rotate off. So the key now is, where does sixth zone go? Does it come back up on that edge? And who is able to get that immediate priority? Because everyone who's in Stark is going to be trying to pile into this tiny little corner, whereas the one team who's down below is really just hoping that they don't remain they remain unnoticed.
And we did see in DreamHack a Liege holding on down south and able to walk away as a champion as the zone did pull their way. But it's another great point there, Sundown. And Stark Industry does have a lot of medium ammo. So that is what's going to be the benefit here as Mongrel gets a nice knock right through in there. And already this team that's been coming in 9th place has the ability to get up higher and higher as Rotary picks up in lane and Stormy right. So they are still going. They're still cooking. They're still vibing. But right now, it is the solving of this problem of this big piece on top. And look at it already. Toos, Browner, and Tomsy are setting up for height. There's a 2 connection there as they were able to connect to this team right here that we're zooming into of Mexi, Astro, and Exponential. And so now, as you see, it actually pulls completely off. So that high ground that you just built, nullified. It does not go your way. You're going to have to figure out another plan here as there's only one trio sitting in the front of the zone, and the gamble pays off for that team down south. And already people are having early rotations knowing that the congestion on their side, they do not want to get beamed. So that's what Toos and Tomsy are. Browner, as you see on your top left of your screen, ladies and gentlemen, are doing with that Stark Energy Rifle, looking for the skeet shooting opportunities to get the beams on as Mexi and his squad decide to rotate early and avoid the beams, and now built up here, and now it's just a crazy mad dash to front of circle.
And you see Mexi almost caught a present there in the form of another player in the pump shot, getting 60 plus damage there, but Mythic raining down shots above. 16 trios remaining, so every single point coming through, or every single placement coming through, will be an additional point. Tony Mythic will get taken down there, and you see the initial tarp starting to go, and everyone trying to get in front of this zone and then about face as fast as you can. And you can see just how much we talked about kind of this change in verticality, and the drastic change is going to make it that much more difficult. But look on the low ground. We talked about how good they were sticking hip to hip. So even with Slicks going down, Rifle and Larise again end up with an isolated layer on the low ground, and they find elimination as well. So the Become Legends trio might be able to do it themselves, get the confirmation there. But also we still have Tayson and co running through. Rifle gets another one onto Kiriachi as well. So really well done from that team to continue pressing forward. Clement turns around and picks up Stormy right. But right now, Advise, Jachu, and Paco have a relatively uncontested layer, and they're doing a good job of picking up some shots on the backside of the zone.
Can Rifle and Slicks do the thing that Amplify and ADN and Matzo did, where ADN and Amplify was a 2v3 situation? They were able to clutch and get it. The story continues, but we're on board here with Paco and Jachu and Vice, who are basically sitting on top of Stark, getting those beams ready, sitting with 30 points here and doing a lot of damage. And Paco packs that in, sends them out of the lobby. Gone. You've been eliminated. Clement is still cooking up right now. We're taking a look at who's at height, and they still were able to hold on to height. It's Toos, Tomsy, and Browner, and they're going to lay down beams on everybody. And you're looking at Mongrel, Tayson, and Mitro, who I believe are, yes, they're second from height, but they're not being focused. And you do not want to be second from height, because you will be focused. Now we're taking a look at Nate and Mongrel here. Nate on the top side of your screen, Mongrel on the bottom. Mongrel makes a play for height. He's going to lay down some big-time beams, and now we have Mongrel and Tayson and height. What a big-time play using that shockwave, Sundown.
Yeah, that's one of the benefits of being at that Mythic POI and holding those shockwaves till late. Yes, that team was able to hold top in the high zone, but only for so long. And some brilliant shots coming out from Mongrel there, able to execute and get a huge down on the Kha'Zix. Now they have complete control of the high ground. The question is, what can Nate do on the low ground, and how many eliminations can he steal away here as a solo? You can see Kha'Zix going down, but Nate says, I'm not going down without a fight. He gets one, he gets two. I believe only one of those was his actual one. He says, no, I'll make a third, but instead gets cleaned up in the box-to-box, doesn't switch over in time to the AR. So now it's all about the Stark Industries crew. You have Mongrel, Mitro, and Tayson. 11 eliminations so far. High ground to their name. They have the full trio, and they should just be able to walk this one over the finish line.
All they have to do is hold on to the height, and I believe they did lose it right there. They're going to go ahead and get somebody knocked down as we have everybody that's still up from this trio. As Mongrel picks up an elim right now. It is a top 3 situation. Mongrel picks up another one and gets the Victory Royale. It's a trio splash screen of Victory Royale, and this 9th place team gets their way up the charts right here, Sundown. What a big-time finish from this squad.
You talk about those pop-off games, 25 points for the Victory Royale, but when you have a trio as good as theirs, you're just pouring on the points with those 15 eliminations. We're going to throw it on back to the desk. Shio, Reese, Zeke, take it away, gents.
Thank you so much, Sundown. Guys, what a game. Mongrel coming out big. Hey, who thought Mongrel was washed? Not me. Okay? He's still here. He's still here to play. I got you guys with that one. What an incredible game. Shy, I mean, that was dope. That was clinical.
It was clinical, but it was also kind of like gritty, right? It wasn't the most cleanest thing, but the shots were hitting so hard, right? Just the way Mongrel was kind of elegant, but at the same time, elegant with steel-toed boots. Like, if you got anywhere near him, you're getting a kick straight in the face. It's like not possible what he does, but he keeps doing it consistently. It's just crazy to watch, and because of it, you just saw how lethal he was in that end game. He's got 7 eliminations total, I believe, and 3 of those were all the way at the very, very night portions of that game.
That's right, that's right. Now, guys, let's take a look at the standings. The big question on my mind is, where are Mongrel after that game? And, of course, the next one was Reese's prediction. Kha'Zix, 4ZR, and Nate. They're still holding down. They said, Reese, we will not disappoint you, my friend. However, Mongrel, I believe this is Mitro, F1 through F4, and Tayson are coming up big. But look at this, guys. This point differential here from 1st to 5th, not that big of a spread, huh, Shy?
Yeah, kind of ebb and flowy. If this was kind of like a stock we were following, really high, a little bit of a crash on that next game that we just watched beforehand. But off of this one, these guys are on their secondary engines. I'm combining analogies, but they're now even more so ahead. It's not a 1-point differential. Passed on the second page, though, that spread is also evening out even more, 43 to 32. It's getting wide here, Reese.
I know a bit of a difference between 6th and 10th, but one of the teams that I want to look at is in 9th place, Flick, Anas, and Thomas HD. Didn't perform too well in their first 2 games. However, that game, we probably didn't see is them picking up 11 eliminations and placing 4th. So a huge game for them, and that's really shot them up the leaderboards into that 9th place slot.
Yeah, and past that too, from 15th, we're going to be going on, I think, maybe to the next page as well. 25 is the points to be at for top 15. Hellraiser, Jamside, and Letwork are holding that one down. These guys are scary if you ever see them in an endgame beside you box to box. Over here towards the back half, looking at people who want to get into that top 15, points are going up by 5 per game. So we're seeing that maybe by the end of the 2 days, we have 60 points to be able to get towards that top slot to be able to qualify for heats. We'll see if that is the case. So far, though, good games overall.
Yeah, man. And we're only 3 games in, right? Again, we can't stress this enough. We've got 6 games today, another 6 games tomorrow. Now, boys, we got to run that game back. We got to understand how Mongrel and his trio led themselves to victory. So, guys, break this down for us.
Indeed, we shall. I think Mongrel, the way that he went with Endgame, was all kind of about his movement and the pumps that he, kind of led with all throughout. But it started off in the early game, Reese.
Yeah, you can see he lands to the side of this chest here, immediately landing on that green pump, and immediately picks up the elimination on Lanouf straight away. He'd already knocked his own teammate Tayson, and you can see all of the other players land on a single guaranteed chest, right? This ends up in a really, really scuffed fight, and you guys have to be prepared when this is going to happen. All these pro players, they're the best at fighting in these simple basics. The movement, you can see him ducking, crouching to the right, still picking up that shot there with a fantastic headshot.
We can see that movement actually translate all towards the end game, but that was just the first 2 players that Mongrel picked up at Stark Industries. Also, the game these guys win is the first time they're really getting contested today, so that's kind of interesting to see, a kind of reverse pattern. But for Mongrel, the third pickup was going to be coming in just a sec. He starts the revival process for 2 of his teammates. Extra player was there, could hear that, baits them all the way up, blocks them off with the stairs, past that, once again, staying on the edges of boxes where he has that right-hand peek, pulls out multiple layers between him and Jay, all the way the guy was just trying to get in, and then once that fight actually broke down, it got even more interesting.
You can see he just boxed him up. This is his ramp. He doesn't want to flip it. He's going to cause a 50-50, so he goes around the side, edits that window, and gets a fantastic 100 pump off. That finishes the fight for them, so they're now out. They've owned this drop spot. They've won the drop spot, and are this other team going to be contesting? Is Jaspy's team going to be coming back here in the future games? Is it worth it? Because they were doing really, really well on the leaderboards. They still are, but they ended up getting eliminated because of that questionable drop.
Yeah, I mean, Jaspy will be kind of the key to the puzzle, but it was Mongrel who ended up winning off that game once again. Pumps to start it off, Pumps to seal that story. So 7 in total for him individually. His teammates also had a few. Good game. Let's see if they can actually catch up to the people, the Grizzly squad, who's in first place.
Guys, the mechanical prowess from Mongrel, Mitro, and Tayson. You'll love to see it. Now, guys, we are going to need to cool down after that game, so we're going to do a step away, and when we come back, we'll have the last 3 games from Europe here in the Fortnite Champions Series. Stay tuned. We'll see you guys in just a little bit.
Ja, ik ook.